So you saw when we were inserting records into a table, we had constraints. So data type is a constraint. We can only insert an int into that. We can only insert text into this. Primary key is a constraint. It means every value is going to be unique, right? And that's what uniquely identifies every record. Not null is a constraint. We can't enter a null value. A null value is not zero, it's not empty string. A null value means nothing has been entered here. It's null, it's empty, it's blank, there's nothing there. Like 0 is a value. That is no longer null if you have 0 in a field. An empty string is an empty string. That's no longer null. Null is nothing. Null is like nothing. It's null. And so constraints are rules on what can be done. So they enforce what we can do, what kind of data can be entered. It helps ensure data integrity and helps validate our data. Right? Ensures data validity, increases data integrity. It's rules enforced on data. That's what a constraint is. We have table constraints that can be applied to a whole table. We have column constraints that we've already seen when we insert records here. Primary key is constraint. Data type's constraint. Not null's constraint. So not null, unique key, primary key, unique. We'll just put unique. Primary key references is for a foreign key. Check, you could check stuff. So here we talk about null. You could read that. It's what I just said. Unique, right? Like every record needs to be unique, but it's not the primary key. Primary key, that's what we define. Hey, this is the primary key. Uniquely identifies every record. Foreign key, right? So when we have like the rentals table, we store customer ID and movie ID. Which customer rented which movie? And so the way we do that here is we would say references this table's ID, right? So if we had the table company, let's just make it company because that's weird, company 6. We have the table company, and then here in department, right, we have employee ID from here, and I would probably call it the same thing. So here we have employee ID stored here, and it's referencing company employee ID. All right? So that's how we store a foreign key. And then you could do checks. Like a check constraint means what you enter here has to be greater than 0. Okay, so the salary that's entered has to be greater than 0. And you could drop constraints by alter table, table name, drop constraint, some name, but don't worry about that for now. And then here's a little bit of information about null. And so you could do where clauses to filter is not null or is null. You could find things that are null or not null in the where clause. So I just wanted to say that about constraints. Read a little bit more about it on this Postgres tutorial point deal, but it's basically what I just covered. And here you could see constraints are right here. But to me, it came more logically after insert since you use it in insert, so that's why we just talked about it. Last thing we're going to look at is select because that's what your homework is about this week, and we'll do a homework example.